Entara Tassadar, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kaelaris, and today I'm going to be bringing you one of my own games. It was a ladder game against a Terran, and I've been having a few requests of what I do against Terran on ladder, etc., etc. My mouse spazzed out a bit there, woo! And this is basically what I do, and this is a pretty good example of my build against Terran on ladder. It's not picture perfect, mind you, but I'm just going to explain it. I'm not going to give you like build by build like numbers or whatever, but I'm just going to kind of cast it and just tell people what I do with this kind of build. So, as you can see, I'm going to be throwing down a pylon at a very standard time, and basically the big overview of this build is 1 gate expand into +1 armor with hallucination. I sort of tagged on the hallucination. I have a friend that does this kind of the +1 armor push, and it works very well. But I tagged on the hallucination as I found it quite useful in the later stages of these kind of games, not only for scouting, but also to show you something later on in the game. But we'll come to that later. So, as you can see, I have spawned in this like 3 o'clock position, whilst my opponent has spawned in this 6 o'clock position. Neno, pretty sure he's like a rank 1 diamond player or something. Everybody I play is like rank 1 diamond or masters at the moment. I just don't get enough time to ladder, so I can't get into masters just yet. So yeah. Anyway, we have this gateway going down on a 12, I believe. I threw this on down on 12, and then I'm going to be getting that gas at 14. Let's say you don't really need to pay strict attention to the numbers that these numbers. It's just a case of understanding the fact that it's a 1 gate expand into +1 armor hallucination, and I'm pretty sure I use 5 or 6 gates, but we'll see how it goes. I can't exactly remember. I just kind of go with whatever feels natural. So one good thing to note is when you're going for this 1 gate expand against Terran, you really need to be kind of sure that your opponent isn't going to be putting on some ridiculous early pressure to begin with. So scouting is really key. You need to know what your opponent is doing, keeping this probe alive for as long as possible in the opponent's base. I have this guy on a rally around in a circle because I cannot be bothered moving him around sometimes, and I do lose him to that marine, which is a bit bad. But I was pretty sure that there was nothing fishy going on. If you really want to be sure that there's nothing absolutely fishy going on, a really good tactic is to steal 1 gas from a Terran. That way his Banshee play will be extremely crap. There's no other way to say it other than crap. So that cybernetics core did go down as soon as my gateway was finished, and I did get that second pylon at around 16 for those people that do like the numbers. And I'm just saturating at the moment, you know, not doing anything too fancy, but I am going to be saving up soon. And that SCV got a little bit caught on that geyser, so that's why I was saying weird. So I do have a Stalker coming out in order to be able to fend this off, and at this point the Terran really doesn't know what I'm doing that much. He just thinks that I'm doing a very standard build. All he's seen is this gate and this cybernetics core, so there's nothing too different there from a Protoss point of view. He is just grabbing a few units here, and he has quite a few minerals saved up. He is going to be expanding as well by the looks of things, and that does not surprise me. Although that being said, I haven't actually looked at his camera for this replay, so that's new to me. I didn't realise he was expanding. But regardless, as you can see, I have thrown down my Expo, and I do have a sentry coming out as well. I like to go for a Stalker sentry, and then either a Stalker or a Zealot. It doesn't really matter what you go for, as long as you know. You just need to keep tabs on what your opponent is doing. As you can see, I'm sacking a probe there. That probably shouldn't have died, but I really wanted to see what was going on in the front of his base. So I'm pretty sure I just kind of poked up there, saw these units, and was quite happy with what I saw. Pretty sure I could hold that off at that point. But again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to know what your opponent is doing and scouting what your opponent is doing. So he is throwing down another barracks, but at this point in time my warp gates is almost finished. I have been chrono boosting those quite a lot, and I do have a second gateway coming out. You need to make sure that you can always produce out of this gateway before you actually do start throwing down these other gateways, because it's pretty pointless otherwise, up until the point where these warp gates do come into play, and then you can actually go for that. So as you can see, I haven't taken my second gas just yet. This expansion's almost finished, and I'm going to prepare to make quite a nice transfer there, taking quite a few of those probes. About a third of those probes going to be going over there. Not too bad timing, could have sent those a little bit earlier. Make sure that you send, if you're going to be doing this tactic, make sure you send those probes ever so slightly earlier, just before the Nexus does go up, so that they're right there ready for mining as soon as the Nexus is finished. So, as you can see, I have thrown down a few more gateways, going to be able to bolster my front just a little bit. It would be nice to have a pylon down on this low ground, but I did throw one up on this high ground so I could just warp in there. And, you know, c'est la vie, it doesn't really matter either way. And he is going to be grabbing a factory, and wow, that is a huge... Okay, I didn't notice this initially, but that is a massive transfer, something that he shouldn't have done at all. But no worries, no worries. The point still stands that this is a pretty picture-perfect build that I'm kind of executing. So I do have that forge going down. Again, not really kind of messing with like times and things like that. Just gonna be throwing that down and eventually getting my +1. Let's say I throw it down after getting 4 gates and reinforcing my front. Let's go with that. So, as you can see, this expansion is getting pre-mined, and I have thrown down that second gas as well. Hallucination is not researching just yet, but I'm also throwing down a 5th gateway. And as you can see, I've thrown down a pylon in this position. Now, during this game, I was a bit worried about if he was going to be doing any kind of drop play or whatever. So it's always a really good idea. I mean, okay, there's a lot of players do know this already, but I'm just going to illustrate this for the point of whatever. It's always good to drop a pylon, like, between potential routes for medivacs, so you can actually spot them in time. So if I saw a medivac coming over here, then I can just bring my stalkers back and be fully fine in my base. So we do have my +1 armor on the way, and Corona boosting my hallucination as well. I've stopped probe production at this point, at my main, and I should have a few more probes. There we go, I've got a few more probes, getting myself silocked a little bit there. And for some reason he's going for 250mm strike cannons. No doubt I'm expecting a 2-gate robo or something like that, but I'm not doing that. You should really scout, Terran. Not good. So I have thrown pylons in other places, and I have this probe here just in case I do kind of see any push coming in this direction. You really need to know what your opponent's doing, and you need to be able to react as quickly as possible when that kind of push does come. I'm throwing this pylon down in the back in order to be able to try and throw down any cannons in case any banshees do come, because we're coming up to the 10-minute mark now, and if he'd expanded and then kind of gone for any kind of banshee play, it would be coming if a little bit earlier, or maybe upcoming right now. So I have got these 5 gates, my hallucination is researched, and we do have that armor almost finished. I'm sending in this hallucinated Colossus now. Hallucinated Colossus. That is not a Colossus, ladies and gents, that is a Phoenix. So this is going to be able to give me some good intel on what we have in front. I can see that he does have this expansion up and running nicely, and he's just grabbing his starport. So as soon as that +1 armor finishes, that is a really good time to move in. So as you can see, I'm just going to be pushing up here, going to be putting the pylons down as close to him as I can. I just want that to overlap on there, just in case I could end up warping in some units. And I've hallucinated 2 Colossi. Now there's 2 reasons for hallucinating the Colossi. One is for getting vision up cliffs, and the second is just in case your opponent does focus them down. Now he does have a missile turret here, so he can see that these are hallucinated, but indeed he is still damaging one, so you know, they pay for themselves. And ultimately I'm actually just going to go back and watch that engagement again, because there is one more vital thing I need to point out. And let's just go back a little bit. There we go. Let's just speed this up. There's a really important positioning. Right, so the reason we got that +1 armor is because these zealots now have a base of 2 armor. With that base of 2 armor, plus the Guardian Shield, which gives them an extra 2 armor, against these Marines, which currently have no upgrades, these Marines are doing 2 damage per shot to these zealots if the zealots are in the Guardian Shield. So Guardian Shield is really important in this. I've got quite a lot of them in there, but a few are moving. I really should be moving up with these sentries. I am moving up a little bit, but at this point it's pretty much win. And so it's really important to have your zealots covered by that Guardian Shield. Also, it applies to all these other units. As you can see, they all have the benefit of +4 armor ultimately, and Marines are just doing no damage to them whatsoever. So this is a really good tip to use when when you're playing, even against someone who's, especially in fact when you're going against a player that's using Mutalisks in PvZ. In fact, he actually did use his strike cannons on one of my hallucinated colossi there, so that was quite amusing. And that Thor died instantly, so... Yes, anyway, thank you very much for watching this, guys. I hope you found this slightly educational. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you like what you see, please do subscribe. Also, as a brief side note thing, I hopefully, I really want to start, like, coaching Platinum to Bronze Protoss players. And I'm probably going to be doing that for about €7.50 an hour. I know, obviously, there are other coaches out there and stuff like that, but I want to give it a go, and I feel confident that I can teach Platinum to Bronze players how to, you know, get a lot better in their play in general. So if you're up for that, please give me a bell. I will just send me an email, and that would be absolutely fantastic, and we will get something worked out. For all those haters out there, shut up, I hate you. And I love the rest of you. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. I've just realised that I didn't finish my point about +1 armors upgrades, or plus armor upgrades in general. Let me finish that really quickly right now. You really want to go for plus armor, especially when you're going against a marine Terran, someone who's building a lot of marines, because it negates so much damage, because they attack so fast for such small damage. It can really negate a massive amount of it. And again, as I said before with the Mutalisks, plus armor, if you have Stalkers with +3 armor against Mutalisks, it negates a ridiculous amount of damage, because it also negates the bounces. So if you didn't know these tips, there you go, you've got them. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Cool face. Bye.